Welcome back to another episode of Finch Fridays. In today's episode, I'm going to give my review of the new MacBook Pro 14-inch. I only went and bought myself a new MacBook Pro 14-inch. The exact model I got was the M2 Pro, and I upgraded the RAM to 32 gigabytes, but everything else I just came as standard. And to be honest, even the base model looked really good. One thing to remember is you can't upgrade any RAM or storage like you used to be able to on previous models. You literally have to build it to the spec you want. But remember one thing, you can always buy portable storage. So if, a bit like myself, if you're on a bit of a budget, I would rather spend the money on upgrading the RAM than the storage. But I'll get into more detail about this a bit later on. If you're new to my channel, please like and subscribe. I talk about all things wedding videography and video production related. So let's look at why I bought this. Many of you may know my daughter was diagnosed with cancer last January. So it's been pretty much a year and a half. She has just relapsed after completing her initial sort of 14 months of treatment. So there's a lot more hospital stays now, hence the MacBook Pro. So I still do most of my editing on my iMac, just to the side of me here. I bought it in 2018. It was the 5K 27-inch. I maxed out the RAM, had a terabyte of storage, and I still, even today, love it, which, you know, I spent a lot of money on it, a lot more than the MacBook Pro here. So you would expect, you know, 5 years later, that it's still really good. Obviously, it doesn't have the new M chips, still on the Intel-based system, but for weddings, I actually still film in HD. I don't film weddings in 4K, so I film it on my C200, which I'm filming here with my itchy nose, and I film in C-Log 3, and it just handles, I know it's 8 bits, but it just handles it really well. I've had no issues, multicam edits, no issues whatsoever. For my social media and property videos, I do film in 4K, and that handles it really well as well. So I've had no complaints there. So the reason for saying this is that my MacBook Pro is actually my secondary editing machine. I've got my primary, and that is one of the reasons why I didn't upgrade the SSD. If it was going to be my primary one, I would upgrade the storage, probably to at least a terabyte, a bit like I've got on my iMac. So I filmed a wedding a few weeks ago on the Wednesday just before Easter, and then we were heading down to Dorset the next day to see my mum and dad, to spend the Easter holidays there. So what I like to do is I like to get a little teaser trailer out on my social media channels, well, mainly Instagram, usually the next day or within 2 days. I might have talked about this on previous videos, but you know, this gets a lot of interest, you know, tag suppliers, potentially get more bookings. So I took this opportunity to do that video on my new MacBook Pro. So I will show the video at the end of this video if you're interested, because that video got nearly 2,000 views. So I was really pleased with that within a couple of days. So this little teaser trailer was extra special because the bridesmaid actually sang coming down the aisle. So my teaser trailers are usually 60 seconds long, because that's what Instagram used to have on their reels. They were literally 60 seconds max. But now I post highlights, you know, I do 4 or 5 minute highlights on Instagram. But I usually keep my teaser trailers to 60 seconds just because I like that length anyway. But I used the bridesmaid song, which was about 1.5 minutes, which the couple absolutely loved, and I love doing that sort of extra special moment for them. So, my review. Let's start with the positives. This handles all my footage amazingly. Yes, I did only edit a wedding film in HD, which hopefully you'll see at the end. But I did also test some of my social media 4K footage as well. And honestly, it was just seamless. A bit like on my iMac, there was no lag whatsoever. Because I do sometimes in like the wedding videographer forums hear people talk about laggy computers and stuff. Literally with this, no issues whatsoever. When it came to color grading, perfect, just like it is on my iMac, no problems there. And the export was incredibly quick. I know it's only a sort of 90-second video, but it handled it no problems. So I actually timed it on the MacBook Pro and then timed it on my iMac. The MacBook Pro took 42 seconds compared to my iMac, which took 1 minute and 29 seconds. So this was almost a minute quicker on a 90-second clip. So imagine that on a 5 minutes highlights, 12-minute highlights, or a 20 to 30-minute feature film. So this, in the long run, will save a lot of time. So the file, even though it was 90 seconds, the file was still quite big because I maxed out the VBR rate on the variable 2 pass to both 50 MBS. So the battery life is amazing. So since getting it, I didn't charge it once I opened it. Literally just opened it up. It had some battery there. So I managed to copy all my data over. I edited for about 2 hours, which included the 90-second teaser trailer plus some testing of some 4K footage. I also had a sort of 20-minute video call with a doctor in America discussing my daughter's cancer. And I watched a bit of Netflix on it, and I still have about 50% battery left. And like I said, it wasn't even charged to 100% when I got it. The audio sounds really good with the built-in speakers. Listening back to the ceremony and speeches just sounded really clear, and I'm sure that if I was using this as my editing machine, I'd be more than happy just to run it as it is. So they are the positives. And like anything, there are some negatives. One thing I would say is I would use a mouse whilst editing. Just on the trackpad, I did find it, well, maybe because I'm not used to it, maybe because I am used to my iMac. I didn't find it too easy with sort of like the left click, right click. I'm sure with a bit of practice, it would become more natural. But if I was using it as my main editing machine, I would definitely have a mouse. But the main negative is the screen size, because I am used to editing on a 27-inch iMac. So coming down to a 14-inch, I did find it a little bit difficult. All the little screens were a bit smaller. And I think I would have found that problem on the slightly bigger MacBook Pro as well. So my issue is coming from a big 27-inch down to a smaller laptop. Now for me, this is my secondary editing machine. So when I'm in the hospital or in my van, when I do social media for some small businesses around town, I can just get some edits done quite quickly if I have to. It is absolutely ideal for that. If I was using this as my primary editing machine, I would just buy a bigger monitor for it. And you can get docks. The last wedding I filmed, I was actually talking to the photographer. He uses a MacBook Pro. And he has a separate screen, and he has a dock for it, which he connects extra storage plus the monitor, and it charges it. So he literally comes home, plonks it in, it's all on the big screen, and then edits perfectly. And then if you have to go on the go, then you've got all your stuff there, and it's a great little editing machine. So that's what I would do to overcome the main negative. I know it's a little bit more money, but if you are looking for a laptop to use as a laptop, sort of around the house or on the go, but you want to sit down and use it as a proper editing machine, just buy a bigger monitor as well. And maybe in a year or two, that's what I'll end up doing. But for now, like I said, this is my secondary editing machine, and my primary one is my iMac. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. I try to get a video out every Friday. Sometimes it's 2 weeks, sometimes it's 3 or 4. This one I did want to get out a couple of Fridays ago, but I ended up going on holiday. Yeah, we took my daughter, who has cancer, away to Tenerife for a week with all her meds. Was a bit crazy when my wife first gave me the idea, but our consultants gave us the all clear, had a fit to fly letter, and we really enjoyed a week's holiday. So I talk about all things video production related, mainly weddings, because that is my main area of business. So like I said, please like and subscribe. And here is that little teaser of my last wedding. Please enjoy.
One look at you, my whole world falls in line. I prayed for you before I called you mine. No, I can't believe it's true. Sometimes, no, I can't believe it's true. I get to love you. It's the best thing I